Okay. So good afternoon. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
So before the lunch, we have understood the basic assumptions of MANOVA and the R codes. And the last time, there is some problem in R code solution, because I have told you that is the C bind, that means this column bind. That data should be the matrix. If it is not matrix, it cannot do the analysis. Okay, therefore, when I make it matrix, then it becomes easy for the computation. Okay. Okay, now, so this is the data, this iris data, and dependent variable is this sepal length, sepal width, sepal length, petal width. Sorry, sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width. And the independent variable is the species. The model is the MANOVA. So this dependent vars includes all the numeric data. There is some sound, I cannot understand. Okay. So now it is clear to you. So this is your dependent variable. Dependent variable, that means there should be more than 2 or more than 1. Sorry, more than 1. Okay. And the independent variable in the current study, that is the 3 types of species. And the dependent variable is the sepal length, sepal width, petal length, and petal width. Earlier, we have already tested that these variables have no outliers. Number 2, the variables are correlated with each other. Not very high in case of one type. So out of these 4, 3 variables, they are highly correlated with each other. Now, I am selecting this total data and I write the run command. I think this is visible to all of you, right? Hello.
Yes, sir, visible.
So it indicates that independent variable degrees of freedom 2. Because 3 variables are there. Therefore, it is 2. and the residuals is 147. So this is the value, it is pill line. But if you are interested, you can make it Quills lambda also. It depends upon you. And this is the probability value. That is to what extent these three groups are different in the means of the dependent variable. And this MANOVA model, this is a vector. And in this vector, you will find several elements. Okay. Since the three groups are significantly different, so you can explore that whether the between group difference is significant or not. Therefore, you can write down you can check so this is the data. Okay. So based upon this data, you can tell that is where the difference is high and where the difference is low. Okay. That means this species type that has effect on the dependent variable, and where the effect is more and where the effect is relatively less, so that you can check. Okay. So MANOVA will give you this impression that whether the independent variable has any effect on the linear combination of the dependent variables or not. So when you are doing this C-bind, and you are assigning this variable, that is a dependent vars in your model. Okay. And by using this MANOVA script, you can easily find out whether the linear combinations of the variables, dependent variables, are significantly different or not. So in this way, you can compute MANOVA. Earlier, we cannot do it because the data were not in matrix format. Data were in data frame format. Therefore, we could not solve the problem. Okay. Now, if you have any question, you can ask me. And if you want to find out the between group difference, then you can write down this one. AOV, then iris, dollar, sepal length, whether this sepal length varies or not. Then iris, dollar, species. Okay. So in this way, you can get the between group difference. Okay. So in this program, you will find that is the only one dependent variable and 3 types of independent variable. If you want to examine that data, then you can write down the box plot. Iris, dollar, sepal length by iris, dollar, species. Okay. And you will get the box square plot. Is it clear? Hello.
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay. Now I will teach you cluster analysis. Do you have any idea about the cluster analysis? What is the meaning of cluster?
Yeah, it is a, sir, it is a group of similar items.
Correct. So group of the similar items. So if I say Twitter, Facebook, Yahoo, WhatsApp, and Gmail, how many clusters are there?
Sir, 4 clusters are there.
No, 4 variables I have mentioned.
Only one cluster.
Facebook, WhatsApp, email, Yahoo Mail, Gmail.
It's maybe 2, sir, 2 clusters.
Correct. So how we can think about the 2 clusters?
So WhatsApp and Facebook are social media, and Gmail and this Yahoo Mail are 2 email related in
Yeah.
that way.
Okay. That means though these 5 variables, they are related to the networking model, internet net, but following their similarities and dissimilarities, we can classify the variables into different groups, and the groups should be meaningful. Okay. So in rating scale, we will get the different types of variables measure, basically the measures of different variables. Sometimes we have some theoretical assumption that these variables will be correlated with each other. And sometimes we do not have any predetermined assumption. When we do not have any predetermined assumption, then we can follow the hierarchical cluster analysis. Hello.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Hierarchical cluster analysis. So in hierarchical cluster analysis, we can assess the difference or the squared difference between the variables for the square difference, we can use the Euclidean distance. Okay. So now you imagine and you tell me very quickly, there are two variables, x and y. In x, all the data are 5. And again in y, all the data are 5. Then what will be the Euclidean distance?
So we're not able to see anything.
Two sets of data is there. And number of observations are 30. X data set, all data are 5. And then again in Y data set, all data are 5. Then what will be the Euclidean distance? Is it clear to you? What I have told you, that is the difference between two sets of variables. Okay. So by each row, if you want to calculate the d square, and after that 30 observations are there, so sum of the d square. So what will be the sum of the d square? All the data for x is 5. All the data for y is 5. Is it clear to you?
Yeah, yes, sir, it is clear.
What you have understood? In your first row, what is the variable for x? Five, okay? In the first row, what is the variable for y? 5. So 5 minus 5, what will be? Hello. 5 minus 5 and then whole square. So what will be the result?
So 0 to.
Yes. That means there is no difference between x and y. So result will be 0. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so please study what is written here. Hello.
Yes, yes, sir. We have seen this slide.
So when I say Twitter, WhatsApp, Facebook, the messaging in Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp. Do you find any sort of similarity among the four?
Messaging in Facebook and Twitter is more similar than in comparison with WhatsApp.
So all of them are social media companies.
So all of them using internet.
Okay. That means they are forming the cluster, coherent cluster. So now I am adding another variable, that is YouTube. So now you imagine Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, Twitter.
The YouTube will be in a different cluster
Why?
because it is dissimilar with the other three.
But is there any similarity between Facebook and YouTube?
No, sir, আমি dissimilar বললাম.
Yeah, that is true. But initially you have to find out that is why it is, why do you think it is dissimilar? Because in the Facebook, you will get the videos. In YouTube, you will get the video. So why do you think it is dissimilar?
YouTube, it will be a recording system.
So YouTube is specifically meant for
But there
video.
is no messaging on the YouTube.
So whereas
No, YouTube video description box is there. Messaging, that is also possible. That means when you want to do the cluster analysis, you have to be very much careful about the attributes of the variable. Okay, you have to write the different attributes of the variable. So which paste you are using in the early morning for brushing your teeth?
Sir, Colgate.
Okay. So you are using Colgate. Okay. Another may use Pepsodent. Another may use Sensodyne. Another may use Dantkanti. So can you make any cluster?
Yes, all will be, sir, only one cluster only under the category of cluster of this toothpaste.
No, you should not make it one cluster. At least you have to make the two groups.
Okay, then we can find out some of them are like Sensodyne is a different kind of toothpaste which is used for sensitive tooths, and Colgate and others are normally used.
Okay, any other? Dantkanti.
Ayurvedic.
So in your cluster analysis, it may be identified that is the Dantkanti is the Ayurvedic and others are the non-Ayurvedic. Okay. So by using the cluster analysis, again you can identify the outlier. So in your model, Dantkanti may be the outlier.
So outlier from the perspective of only.
No, that depends upon your attributes. Specifically in case of the marketing, that is the market segmentation. How do you capture the new market? Do you have any idea? Now you learn business. How do you capture the new market? Which mobile you are using?
Infinix.
Okay. Another? Another may use the
Redmi, Motorola.
Android. And Apple mobile. And there are different mobiles in the market. Okay. And you want to launch a new mobile. So how do you capture the market for your mobile? Then you have to do the cluster analysis. Is it clear? So by
Yes.
using the cluster analysis, you can classify your people. You can classify the respondents. So when we study the attitude of people towards the product using the summated rating scale, based upon that, we can classify the people into different categories. Is it clear or not? Here lies the statement that is to create internally coherent cluster. Okay. What is written here? It is called the agglomerative clustering.
So the agglomerative clustering states that in this method of clustering, it begins with each observation in a distinct cluster and successfully merges cluster together until a stop criteria is satisfied.
Okay. So initially you have selected only one cluster, that is the non-Ayurvedic pest. And in that cluster, you are putting the different types of paste we are using in the early morning for brushing the teeth one by one. And then we are trying to find out to what extent the paste, they are close to each other. Okay. For example, initially you have taken only the Colgate.
Max Fresh.
Okay. And after that, you have taken Max Fresh. And you will find that is a Max Fresh and this Colgate, they are close to each other. Next, you have used the Sensodyne. And when you use the Sensodyne, then you will find this Sensodyne is different from the other two. And after that, you Pepsodent. And then you find that is, again, they are close to each other. So finally, you have used the Dantkanti. And again, you will find that is this earlier grouping that is totally associated to each other. And Dantkanti it becomes another group. So you cannot put this Dantkanti in your 4 types of paste. And again, you have used the Neem toothpaste. Then you find that that is Dantkanti and Neem toothpaste. They are close to each other. Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
So now you will find that 2 clusters are there. This is called the agglomerative clustering. Okay. And in case of D-shaped clustering, initially you have collected all types of paste used by the people. And after that, you are trying to remove the weightage of one paste from the other, and you are checking whether there is any effect on the rest of the variable or not. Clear? So in cluster analysis, some of the steps are important. So when you have the data, your data should be pre-processed, because the unit of your data that may vary. So initially you have to do the scaling.
So in scaling, we first have to normalize the scale of feature values in order to begin the clustering process. It needs to be done because each values are represented as coordinates in n-dimensional space, and then the distance between the coordinates are calculated. If the scales are not normalized, it may lead to false result.
Is it clear now? So initially you have to normalize the data.
And the second point is missing values. We have to keep in mind the missing values. It is important to deal with them in data set beforehand. We can either remove them or impute them with the mean, median, or mode. Okay, so next we move on to steps of hierarchical cluster analysis. So first step is it starts by calculating the distance between every pair of observation points and store it in a distance matrix. Then it puts every point in its own cluster. After that, it starts merging the closest pairs of points based on the distances from the distance matrix, and as a result, the amount of clusters goes down by 1. Then it again recomputes the distance between the new cluster and the old ones and stores them in a new distance matrix. And lastly, it repeats steps 2 and 3 until all the clusters are merged into one single cluster. So there are several ways to measure the distance between the cluster in order to decide the rules for clustering, and they are often called linkage methods. There are some common linkage methods. These are number 1 is complete linkage. It calculates the maximum distance between the clusters before merging. So before merging happens, they calculate the maximum distance there is between the clusters. So the image also represents that. Then the next one, it is called single linkage. It calculates the minimum distance between the clusters before merging. This linkage may be used to detect high values in your data set, which may be outliers, as they will be merged at the end. So in the first one, the maximum distance between the clusters was measured, whereas in single linkage, the minimum distance between the clusters before merging is done. Then in the centroid method, here it finds the centroid of cluster 1, I mean at the center, I guess, center of cluster 1 and centroid of cluster 2, and then calculate the distance between the two before merging. And this dendrogram is very important as in cluster analysis as per Sir. In hierarchical clustering, we categorize the objects into a hierarchy similar to a tree-like diagram, which is called dendrogram. The distance of split or merge, called height, is shown on the y-axis of the dendrogram below. So the y-axis shows the distance of the split or merge. It's written here that at first, if you can see the image, 4 and 6 are combined into one cluster. Okay. And it is called as cluster 1. Since they were closest in distance, followed by points 1 and 2. So after 4 and 6, the next closest in distance were point 1 and 2, and they were named as cluster 2. After that, 5 was merged in the same cluster 1. That means the cluster in which 4 and 6 are present, 5 is also merged with that cluster, followed by 3. And after 5, 3 is also merged with the cluster 1. And at last, the two clusters are merged into a single cluster, and this is where the clustering process stops.
Okay.
Now,
So this is the data. We have the data.
so Sir will now show in R how to proceed with cluster analysis.
Is it clear? Visible to all of you?
Visible, sir. It is visible.
Okay, so first I have written Irish new. Why it is 1:4? Who can tell? Who can tell? So if I write down,
End bracket.
first we have to check the data. What is written? The name of the variables. If I write down names bracket Irish, you will get the names of the variable. Okay. Now I click the structure. So you will get that is this 5 variables are there. And out of the 5 variables, one variable is the factor variable. and you will get the text data. But first 4, you will get the metric data. Therefore, you want to check what is that. So now again, you will find these first 4 sets of data. That is the metric data. And the 5th data is the text data. Therefore, you have created one new data set. It is called the IRIS new. So I can check what is in IRIS new. Okay. So you will get the 4 data sets. That means the last data, that is a text data, that is removed. After that, I have transposed the data. For the transpose, the command is T. So T indicates transpose. I created a new vector, IRIS TA. So if I write down, okay, this is clear. So I have transposed the data. Next, I have calculated the distance. For that reason, IRIS dist equal to dist and within bracket IRIS TA. That means IRIS dist will be the distance matrix. So next, I have written fit equal to H class. H class means hierarchical cluster analysis. And here I am following the word method, word D. And next is the plot. So what I can do now, I can complete all those. So this is the final plot. Is it clear to all of you? Hello.
Yes, sir. Clear.
So this is the cluster analysis. So this is the dendrogram. Okay. This is the dendrogram. So in your example, these Sensodyne, Pepsodent, Colgate, okay, all of them are these 3. And the Dant Kanti, Ayurvedic, that is this one. So now you can relate your example with this dendrogram. Okay. So in case of the item analysis, when you cannot use the traditional approach, these parametric models, then you can think about the cluster analysis for the identification of the outlier. Okay. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Sir, for outliers, you are saying, sir, it is useful to detect outliers. So univariate outliers, bivariate outliers, or multivariate outliers. We can when can we use this Mahalanobis distance for this
Good. But that is
multivariate?
another model. Yeah, that is the Mahalanobis D-square model. So that is another approach.
So when we can choose, or how to choose between these two approaches?
That is the discriminant function analysis. That
Okay.
is a different model.
Hmm.
This is not this model. This is very primitive model. And most of the time, bioscientists, usually they are using this agricultural scientists, also though these people, they are using this type of, and the marketing, specifically the marketing people, they are using this one. And there are many statistical models are there and different assumptions are there. Then again, you have to validate the model. That is vital. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So now it is clear to all of you. So you can cluster the respondents or you can cluster the variables. It depends upon your own research objective. Okay. Is it clear to all of you? Okay, now
Okay, so regarding tomorrow's assignment, what sir has planned is that with this iris data, which is available in R, you yourself compute first correlation, then item total correlation, inter-item correlation, ANOVA, MANOVA, and cluster analysis. So you can compute these and you can show it to sir from the 2 to 4 p.m. slot. When each one of you will get a chance to present it in front of sir. And if you have any queries, you can ask him directly. So correlation, ANOVA, MANOVA, cluster analysis, and in item total correlation. So this is the assignment that we have thought of. And there are many other datas available in R for practice. One of them is that MT-CARS data, MT-CARS CARS data. So you can also practice with that one and do these calculations as well with that data also.
And you can take only one. Okay. So if you are interested only the MANOVA of IRIS data, then you take only the MANOVA. If you think only the item total correlation, then item total
So
correlation.
each one of them will present only one
Only one.
statistical measure, right? Okay, so you can choose according to your convenience, and you have to present just one of them among these. And have you understood cluster analysis? Sir is asking. If you have any question, you can ask sir. Okay, then I'll send you the PPTs of all the till now, whatever we have done. So I think I won't be able to send you the regression PPT right now because I don't have that with me right now. But the rest of the PPTs I'm sending you after the class today. Okay. So, okay, I think that's all for today. We'll again meet tomorrow, and tomorrow we have discriminant functional analysis, and it will be taught by Shushmita Mukhopadhyay ma'am of IIT Kharagpur. And then we'll have the PPT presentation. Thank you everyone for being here. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.